Hey folks, I'm about to get into some VCLT that my buddy Dave gave me, but I shot that video probably a week or two ago at least, and I just want to put this on here because there were a couple things I needed to do. One, um, channel shout out. David Stinson. He is, last I checked, he's got about 9 or 10 subscribers. He's showing music. He's showing some good stuff like Rick Kua, Zach Williams, the new Michael Sweet. Showing some good stuff. Also showing some movies, DVDs, and things like that. And I thought it would be good to go over there, give him a shout out so he can get some subs because we all do this for interaction. I mean, we want to have a little bit of feedback. So that's David Stinson, and I'll put a link in the description for his channel. Let's go over and show him some support. What else did I want to? Oh, yeah. First, how about them Dolphins? It is Victory Monday around here. I didn't know if we would see one this year, but we did. We beat the Jets. And I tell you what, you won't hear any complaining about me about this team any this year because they have won me over. They play hard for Coach Flores. They fought hard. You know, they know where they're at as far as having almost all the good players taken off this team, but they don't let that stop them. They get out there and they get after it. And they got one over the Jets. So, loving the Dolphins. And let me point out, this week I wasn't quite as sharp as I was the week before, but I did call the Dolphins beating the Jets. I did call the Ravens beating the Patriots. Not too shabby. So, all right, that's enough about the football. And then finally, we're going to get into this VCLT video. One thing I missed. See, Dave knows that I'm a Kiss fan. They were probably the first big rock band that I ever got into. He didn't bring me this, but he did bring me this. Kiss Destroyer Cola. I thought that was pretty cool. So, cheers, VC. Let's go ahead and get into this VCLT video. Hey, folks, this is going to be a VCLT video of sorts. A couple of weeks ago, I took my annual trip down to Bell Buckle, Tennessee for Russ and Tori Taft weekend. I went with my buddy Dave. It's become kind of an annual thing. And when we got down there, he had a stack of records for me. And so he's not part of the vinyl community, but he's part of my vinyl community. He brought me this great stack of wax. So let's go through it. All right. So what did he bring me? First, he knows I'm a comic book geek. So he brought me this copy of Superman. It is a storybook. A storybook record. Love this stuff. I've got some other ones. This is on Peter Pan Records, who did a lot of this type of thing. You like that custom centering. Man, it's a nice looking copy. Yeah. So Superman also has an ad here for some of the other sets. Kojak, Star Trek, Wonder Woman, $6 Million Man. Cool stuff. Superman, book and record. All right. Next up is a rock album. Jefferson Starship, Red Octopus. I must admit, I'm not too familiar with this band. I know who Grace Slick is. I've heard of the group. Don't have a whole lot of their stuff. And this custom, there's the original inner sleeve. Lyrics on that side. And it is on Grunt Records. That's Jefferson Starship, Red Octopus, don't see 1975. So, anyway, that's the second one. The next artist he gave me 2 albums by, and I had to look him up on Wikipedia and find out a little bit about him. And apparently this guy is really, and I watched a video too on YouTube, and this guy is really good. He is a kind of an Americana artist, a tremendous guitarist and singer-songwriter. His name's Norman Blake. This is the album Old and New. It's his 3rd album. It's on Flying Fish Records, 1975. Looking at the Wikipedia page, man, this guy has played. He played, toured and recorded with country singer Johnny Cash. He was asked by Bob Dylan to play on the country folk album Nashville Skyline, which is an amazing album. Then became a house band, member of a house band on Johnny Cash's TV show. Chris Christopherson, Joan Baez, they're all mentioned on here. Anyway, there's the label, Flying Fish. Norman Blake, his 3rd album. The Wikipedia page says that Blake could be described as neo-traditionalist Americana folk and roots music. That sounds pretty accurate to me. This is the 2nd album. All right, so that was his 3rd album. This is his, this is a little bit farther down in his discography. This is Norman Blake and the Rising Fawn String Ensemble, and the name of the album is Full Moon on the Farm. It is a promo copy. And this one came out on Rounder Records. There you go. There's that Rounder Records label. Actually, I just showed an album on Rounder Records. I believe it was Riders in the Sky, and I don't remember it looking like that. So maybe they've had a couple different labels. But I'm looking forward to these 2. I just heard a snippet of a song on YouTube and thought, man, this could be really good. And he's a good player. There's no doubt about that.
brothers is my game, 15 is my draw. Lord Randall Collins did my name down in Arkansas.
Okay, so the next album is Picking Time, Grandpa Jones. Of course, we all know Grandpa Jones from Hee Haw. And so he's quite a musician. It's on Vocal Lion Records. I probably just butchered that. There's the label. Love some Grandpa Jones. I've got a few of his albums now. It kicks off with the song 8 More Miles to Louisville. So it's Grandpa Jones Picking Time. Next up, we've got some Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. Uncle Charlie and his dog Teddy. Seems like I was watching in someone's video and they were showing this album recently. Take it out of the bag. There we go. Pulled up the Wikipedia page on it because... Okay, so this has the hit song Mr. Bojangles, also House on Pooh Corner, and some of Shelley's Blues charted. Oh, it is a gatefold. And let's see, no original inner sleeve. It is on, what is this on? Liberty Records. So looking forward to cleaning that up and giving it a spin. Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. Next up, Keith Green. So you want to go back to Egypt. This is a Christian album. Keith Green he died in the early 80s in a plane crash. And it's a shame. He was a good musician. I always think of him as kind of the Billy Joel type as far as him being a pianist, singer, songwriter. This album, I think one of the things that caught my eye when I was looking at the back before I started shooting this was the musicians. So on drums, we got Bill Maxwell, bass, Hadley Hawkinsmith, guitars, Hadley Hawkinsmith, congas and percussion, Alex Acuna, organ, Harlan Rogers. I believe all of those gentlemen are members of the Christian jazz band Koinonia, and of course they're also some of the most sought after studio musicians anywhere, Christian or otherwise. The other thing that popped out about this album in the special thanks, he thanked Bob Dylan for surrendering to Jesus and allowing me to share in that joy. And interestingly enough, he's credited harmonica, Bob Dylan. So Matthew Ward of Second Chapter of Acts also contributed some background vocals to this album. So let's see. I think it will be, kind of his own label. Perfectly Good Records, I believe, is his label. Yeah, part of Last Days Ministries. So next up, talk about this band a lot. The Talbot Brothers, the driving force behind Mason Prophet. Well, this was the first album after they left Mason Prophet and started doing Christian music. The Talbot Brothers, Reborn. John Michael Talbot here, and Terry Talbot. There is a Terry Taylor in Christian rock. All right, so it's on Sparrow. I probably have shown this. I think I have. Well, I know I have a copy of this. This, depending upon whether this is an upgrade or not, it may go out as VCLT. Talbot Brothers, Reborn. Next up, Mylon Lefevre, Rock and Roll Resurrection. One of his mainstream albums before he came back to form Mylon and Broken Heart. And this, what label was he on at this time? Mercury. And it is a 1979 album. So this would have been one of the last albums that he recorded before forming Mylon and Broken Heart. This next album is a classic. It's Larry Norman in Another Land. Larry Norman being one of the first Christian rock artists ever. This is the gatefold. This, he did a trilogy. His first three albums were a trilogy. This is part 3. The first one was Upon This Rock. The second one was Just Visiting This Planet, which is probably my favorite of the trilogy, and then this one, In Another Land. On Solid Rock, which is his own uh, label. Dylan knew of him. In fact, it's thought that this trilogy helped to inspire Bob Dylan's gospel trilogy of Saved, Slow Train Comin', and boy, now I'm blanking. I guess I'll have to look it up and maybe hit you with a subtitle right about here. Save, Slow Train Coming, and yeah, it's not going to come. Anyway, Randy Stonehill played on this album. I recently showed my last VCLT from Jeff McCormick. He sent me a Randy Stonehill. It was on this label, Solid Rock Records. And yeah, good album. Let's see here. The Rock That Doesn't Roll, great song. I Love You, great song. UFO. The Sun Began to Rain. There's some good stuff on this album. Unfortunately, Larry's no longer with us. Can't remember exactly what year he died, but he had been living with heart issues for a long time, and I think that's what finally took him away from us. All right, the next two albums I was so stoked to get, and these are the final two. Greg X. Volz, The River is Rising. This is Greg's first album after leaving Petra as their lead singer. It is a promo. Good rock album. It does have is a little synthesizer heavy because it came out in '86. But still, he had some great players on this album. Some of the notable guest stars: John Lowry, who's the keyboardist for Petra. He played on Joyous Grave. Jimmy Lee Sloas. One of these days, I'm going to learn how to say his last name. But he went on to join the Imperials, I believe, and then later on, he was in the great Christian rock band Dogs of Peace. And Phil Keaggy, the great Phil Keaggy, played the guitar solo on Hold On to the Fire. And Matthew Ward, who I mentioned earlier, second chapter of Acts, he and Mark Farner of Grand Funk Railroad did some backup vocals on Hold On to the Fire.
Well, you can get sidetracked trying to search down these little alleys. Yeah. And you usually find that there ain't much there at all. And I know how it feels to be stuck down in the valleys. Yeah. But sometimes you're held down so you won't die when you fall. Hold on.
really glad to get this. And what's odd is now there's a credit in here for the artwork for the cover, as though it was made. What I'm curious about is, was this cover made specifically for this album? If it was, then it must have been leased out, because I found a science book that had this same cover artwork. Well, not his name and not the title, but basically the same picture. And that seemed kind of odd to me. But I'm a big fan of Greg X. Vol's great voice, and very glad to have that. And finally, wow, this next one, you gotta save the best for last. And it is a sealed copy of a repressing of Rubber Soul. Somehow Dave has been picking up the represses, I guess, and somehow ended up with 2 copies of this. He brought me one. This will be my first Beatles record on vinyl. I've got several of their reissued CDs, the ones that they recently did in the digipacks. But this is absolutely the first Beatles I've ever owned on vinyl. So very glad to have that. So Dave, if you watch this, thanks. I really appreciate that stack of records. That will be, I can't wait to get them cleaned up, get them spun. And some of them may be headed out as VCLT, and that'll be a good thing. And so that's that stack. I'm going to wrap this up so I can get it edited and get it uploaded. Hope everyone's having a great week or weekend, and we will see you soon.